Hollywood has seen its share of surprises, but nothing prepared fans for Jamie Dornan's latest confession. The actor, known for his calm charm and quiet family life, finally broke his silence about something he had kept private for years: the truth about his marriage. The revelation came during what was supposed to be a casual sit-down interview about his upcoming projects. The conversation took a turn when the host mentioned how fans often saw Jamie and his wife, Amelia Warner, as the perfect couple. Jamie smiled, but it wasn't the kind of smile that hides behind happiness. It was the tired smile of a man ready to tell the truth. "I think people forget that we're human," he began softly. "Marriage isn't a movie. It's not always easy, and it's not always beautiful. But it's real." The audience fell silent. For nearly a decade, Jamie and Amelia had been Hollywood's quiet power couple, elegant, private, and seemingly untouchable by the chaos of fame. But in that moment, the illusion cracked. Jamie continued, "There have been times when we've been so strong together, and other times when we barely held on." It was the first time he had ever spoken so openly about the challenges behind his perfect image. For years, fans saw him as the devoted husband and loving father of three, living a fairy tale far away from Hollywood drama. But as Jamie explained, the truth was far more complicated. "I think success changes people, not always in bad ways, but it tests you," he said. "It tests what kind of partner you are. Amelia and I have been through moments when everything felt like too much." He didn't name specific incidents, but those who followed his journey knew what he meant: the endless filming schedules, the long separations, the rumors that came with his career, especially during the 50 Shades of Grey era. Jamie admitted that fame had affected his marriage more deeply than he ever expected. "When the world starts defining who you are," he said, "you begin to forget who you were before all of this. And sometimes, the person you love gets lost in that noise too." That confession hit fans hard. For years, many had speculated about tension between Jamie's personal and professional lives, especially with the constant attention surrounding his on-screen chemistry with Dakota Johnson. But this was the first time Jamie himself acknowledged the emotional weight that came with it. Still, his tone wasn't bitter. It was honest, almost healing. "Amelia's been my anchor," he said with a faint smile. "But there were moments when even an anchor drifts." He talked about how difficult it was to balance being a global star and a husband at the same time. "You can be in a room full of people who adore you," he said, "and still feel completely alone. I had to learn that fame doesn't replace love, and success doesn't fix what's broken at home." Those words echoed across social media within hours of the interview's release. Clips of his confession spread like wildfire. The headlines were everywhere. "Jamie Dornan opens up about marriage struggles. Hollywood's perfect husband reveals imperfection. The truth that broke the internet." Fans flooded comment sections with support. "He's so brave for saying this," one wrote. "It's refreshing to see honesty in Hollywood," said another. But not everyone was shocked. Those who have followed Jamie and Amelia's story knew that their love had endured more than its share of storms. They married quietly in 2013, choosing to build a life away from the spotlight. Amelia, a musician and actress turned composer, had always been the calm presence behind Jamie's whirlwind career. And yet, as Jamie revealed, even that quiet strength had been tested. "We've had moments where we didn't know if we'd make it," he admitted. "But we chose to fight for each other, again and again." That one sentence summed up everything. It wasn't a scandal. It was a truth that many couples could relate to. Jamie Dornan, the man who seemed to have it all, was reminding the world that love isn't measured in perfection but in persistence. As the interview drew to a close, the host asked him what he had learned from it all. Jamie thought for a moment, then answered with a quiet conviction. "That love isn't about staying the same. It's about growing, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts." His honesty left everyone in awe. The man once known for his mystery had just bared his soul, and the world listened. But just when fans thought they had heard it all, Jamie revealed one more truth, one that no one saw coming. There was a moment, he said softly, when we almost walked away from each other. And that changed everything. The room fell silent again. Whatever came next, it was clear that Jamie Dornan's story wasn't about glamour or gossip. It was about humanity, vulnerability, and the courage to tell the truth. When Jamie Dornan uttered those words, "We almost walked away from each other," the world went silent. It was the kind of truth few celebrities ever admit, especially someone as private as him. But Jamie wasn't speaking for headlines or sympathy. He was speaking from a place of raw honesty, the kind that only comes when a person has lived through the storm and survived it. He took a deep breath before continuing. "There was a point," he said softly, "when Amelia and I were just tired. Not of each other, but of everything around us. The distance, the noise, the expectations. It felt like we were holding on to something that the world kept trying to pull apart." His voice wavered slightly. You could feel the emotion behind every word. For years, Jamie had been living in two worlds, the fantasy of Hollywood and the reality of home. When 50 Shades of Grey turned him into an international star, his life changed overnight. The constant travel, endless interviews, and speculation about his connection with Dakota Johnson created a pressure that even he struggled to describe. "I didn't know how to separate Jamie the actor from Jamie the husband," he admitted. "Sometimes, I'd come home but my mind would still be on set. And that's not fair to the person who's waiting for you." Those moments of emotional distance began to build walls between him and Amelia. "We stopped talking the way we used to," he said quietly. "You think love will automatically fix things, but it doesn't. You have to keep choosing each other, even when it's hard." Jamie revealed that there was a period when they both questioned if their marriage could survive. "We reached a point where we needed space, not because we didn't love each other, but because we'd forgotten how to listen." He described one evening vividly, the night everything almost fell apart. "It was just silence," he recalled. "No shouting, no anger. Just two people sitting there, realizing how far they'd drifted." He paused, his eyes glistening. "That silence was the scariest sound I've ever heard." But that moment also became a turning point. "Amelia," he said, "was the one who reached across the distance first. She looked at me and said, 'We're not losing this, not after everything.' And I realized she was right. We'd built too much together to let it crumble." Jamie smiled faintly as he continued, "That night, we promised to start over. Not from where we were, but from who we had become." It wasn't easy. He admitted that rebuilding their connection took time, patience, and humility. "I had to learn to be vulnerable again," he said. "For a long time, I thought being strong meant keeping everything inside. But that's not strength. Strength is saying, 'I'm scared, but I still want to try.'" He credited Amelia for being his grounding force, the person who saw through the chaos and still chose him. "She knows every version of me," he said. "The broken one, the proud one, the quiet one, and somehow, she still loves me through it all." That line alone sent fans into tears. Jamie continued, speaking about how parenthood played a huge role in saving their marriage. "When you see your kids laughing together, you remember why you started this in the first place. They remind you that love isn't about perfection, it's about presence." He paused for a moment, smiling warmly. "Our girls saved us, in a way. They gave us something bigger than our problems." In the months that followed, Jamie said he and Amelia made a conscious decision to live differently. Less noise, more peace. "We stopped trying to prove anything to the world," he said. "Now, we just try to show up for each other." When asked what he would say to people who believe in perfect marriages, Jamie laughed softly. "There's no such thing," he said. "Marriage isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest enough to admit when you're not." He leaned back, his voice steady now, calmer, wiser. "I've learned that love isn't a constant feeling. It's a choice. Every day, you wake up and decide, 'I'm going to love this person again, even when it's hard, even when it hurts.' That's the real work." As the interview wrapped up, Jamie left one final message, not just for his fans, but for anyone who's ever struggled to keep love alive. "You can't build a lasting relationship on fairy tales," he said. "You build it on forgiveness, patience, and the courage to stay when everything tells you to run." And with that, he smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. The kind that comes not from pretending everything is perfect, but from finally accepting that imperfection is love. As one fan wrote later that night, Jamie Dornan didn't just talk about marriage, he redefined what it means to fight for love. And maybe that's why his confession shook Hollywood so deeply. Because behind the glitz and glamour, Jamie Dornan reminded everyone of a simple truth. Even the strongest hearts break sometimes, but the bravest ones keep choosing to love anyway.